IXL section S12, linear equations, solve for y. In this IXL, you're going to have to rewrite equations and put them in slope-intercept form. So as you could see here in our first example, you're going to have an equation in each problem that you have to rearrange it and simplify it so that it'll be in slope-intercept form. As a reminder, I'm sure you all know already because we've seen it and dealt with it so many times, but slope-intercept form looks like this. All right. And remember, in slope-intercept form, the y is always by itself on one side of the equation. So you're going to have to get the y by itself, which I'll show you. I'll go through this first example right now. Let me just repeat that in Spanish. En este IXL le van a dar ecuaciones que van a tener que resolverlo y mover las piezas para ponerlo en slope-intercept form. La respuesta tiene que ser la misma ecuación, pero escrita en slope-intercept form y simplificado. Slope-intercept form es esta forma donde y siempre está sola en un lado de la ecuación. All right, so if you look at this example, let me do it down here, okay? You have y minus 1 equals 9 parentheses x minus 9. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute this 9 to everything inside the parentheses. Okay, lo primero que voy a hacer es multiplicar este 9 por todo lo que está dentro de los parentheses. Once I do that, I'm going to have y minus 1 equals 9x minus 81. Now it's just a matter of moving the minus 1 to the right and adding it, combining like terms. So I'm adding the 1 to the 81, to the negative 81, which is going to give me y equals 9x minus 80. And that's going to be my answer. Now, if you're at least okay at algebra, you should see after like 2 or 3 of these that you could actually do a lot of these in your mind, believe it or not, all right? Maybe the first one you don't see it, but after you see 2 or 3 that look like this, now, in order to be able to do it in your mind, you got to know your timetable is good. You got to know your multiplying and adding and subtracting integers good. If you're not good at that, then you probably won't be able to do it mental math. But if you are good at that, you'll be able to do a lot of these mental math. All right? So there's my answer for this one. Okay, ahí está mi respuesta. Let's look at the next one. Okay, as you can see, it's the same exact form. It's the same style as this one over here, just with different numbers, okay? Este problema es el mismo estilo que este problema que acabé de hacer, all right? So I'm going to follow the same steps, but look how you could do it mental math. Before I write it out, look how you could do it mental math. You're going to distribute the 5 times the x and the 5 times the 5. So that's going to be 5x plus 25. Now all you got to do is subtract from 25 this 6. And you'll have your answer, which would be, it's always going to be y equals. So again, this will be 5x plus 25 minus this 6. 25 minus 6 is 19. So your answer is y equals 5x plus 19. I'll write it out for the people that didn't get that, but I'm just showing for the people that followed me on that how you could do it mental math, all right? Let me write it out. Actually, let me just say that real quick in Spanish. Muchos de estos problemas están en esta forma y si son buenos con multiplicación y sumando y restando números positivos y negativos, lo pueden hacer en la mente sin escribir nada, muchos de ellos. ¿Ok? Si imaginan aquí 5 multiplicando por estos dos, por x y por 5, sería 5x más 25. Ahora lo único que me falta es restar el 6 del 25. Así que y es igual a 5x más que 25 menos 6, 19. Así que y es igual a 5x más 19. All right, for everybody that did not follow that, here's if I write it all out, here's what you would have. Si lo escribo, esto es lo que me da. All right, so I multiply 5 times everything inside the parentheses, which is going to give me 5x plus 25. Now I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So that's going to give me y equals 5x plus 19, which is my answer, all right? Let's look at another one. All right, now here we have a fraction, but again, if you're good or at least decent at algebra, you could still do it mental math. I'm going to write it out, and then I'm going to show you the little tricks or the little techniques involved, okay? All right, so here's my problem. Y minus 5 equals 1/2 parentheses x plus 6. All right, almost all of them that have a fraction, when you multiply, the fraction will disappear with this number. And what I mean by disappear is it'll change to a whole number, and you'll get rid of the fraction. All right, so I'm going to distribute this fraction. So I'm going to have y minus 5 equals 1/2 x plus, all right, look, this you should be able to do mental math because it's easy. 1/2 times 6 is going to equal 6 over 2 because there's an invisible 1 here. And what's 6 divided by 2? 3. In other words, what's 1/2 of 6? Hey, 1/2 of 6 is 3. That's pretty easy, huh? Okay, esta fracción, esto se puede hacer en la mente. 1 sobre 2 por x es 1 sobre 2x. Y 1 sobre 2 por 6, te está diciendo coge la mitad de 6. La mitad de 6 es 3. Porque cuando se multiplica 1 sobre 2 por 6, 1 sobre 2 por 6 sobre 1, se multiplican los números de arriba, que te da 6, y los de abajo, 2 por 1 te da 2, y 6 dividido por 2 es 3. Así que eso es bien fácil. All right, now my last step is the same as before. Move the minus 5 to the right and add it. And that'll give us our answer in slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/2 x plus 8. That's the answer. Esa es la respuesta. All right, now look how you could have done it. Mental math. Okay, mental math. When you do it mental math, I mean, I would do this in my mind, but this would be 1/2 x. Now half of 6 is 3. And then all I got to do is move the 5 and add it. And in my head, do 3 plus 5. And that will give me 8. So y equals 1/2 x plus 8. All right, again, this is all these first couple of examples, they're all in the same style. So it should be easy. And when they're all in the same style, that means you need to realize the little patterns and the little tricks that you could do to go faster when possible, right? The more you could do mental math, the stronger you're going to become at math, okay? Este está en el mismo estilo que los ejemplos que acabé de hacer. Así que se deben dar cuenta de qué se hace porque estoy haciendo la misma cosa y lo más posible hacerlo en la mente cuando puedan porque eso lo va a poner más fuerte en matemáticas, lo más que pueden hacer en la mente. All right, so I'm going to do the distributive property. Okay, voy a distribuir and it's going to give me y minus 9 equals 2x minus 4. Now all I got to do is move the minus 9 and add it. Okay, mover el menos 9 y sumarlo. So my answer is going to be y equals 2x plus 5. All right, again with a fraction. All right, let's try this one mental math first, all right? I'm going to distribute the 1/3 to both of these terms, okay? Vamos a tratarlo en la mente primero. All right, so that's going to give me 1/3 x. Now, what's 1/3 of negative 9? In other words, when you multiply 1/3 times negative 9, all you're going to do is put the 3 beneath the negative 9 and divide. So what's negative 9 divided by 3? Cuando se multiplica 1 sobre 3 por negativo 9, es lo mismo que dividiendo por 3. Así que, ¿qué sería negativo 9 dividido por 3? It's going to be negative 3, negativo 3. Okay, and the front is going to say that. And the only thing left to do is to move this minus 1. I almost forgot. I'm going to move the minus 1 and add it. Tengo que mover el negativo 1 y sumarlo al negativo 3. Así que la respuesta final sería lo siguiente. I didn't mean to write that in there. All right. So let me go over it again real quick for the people that didn't see it mental math or want me to write every little detail out. Let me do that over here. Okay. So I'm going to do the distributive property. So I'm going to have y minus 1 equals 1 over 3x minus 1 over 3 times 9 is going to give me 9 over 3. And 9 over 3 is 3. And a positive times a negative equals a negative. So that's why I got negative 3. Now I just move minus 1 to the right by adding it to both sides. And I'm going to have y equals 1 over 3x minus 2. Alright? Again, try to do it mental math if you can. Alright, this one's pretty simple. I'm going to distribute the negative sign. If you want to, you can imagine this is negative 1. If it makes it easier to visualize. Alright, so negative times x is negative x. And negative times plus 1 or negative times positive 1 becomes negative 1. Now the only step left to do is to move the minus 5 to the right by adding it. So I'm going to have y equals negative x plus 4 as my answer. Again, so far, later on it's going to change up a little bit, but so far all the examples are the same thing. Okay, so y plus 6 equals negative 6 parentheses x minus 2. So I'm going to do the distributive property. Y plus 6 equals negative 6x plus 12. And now the only step left is to move the plus 6 to the right and subtract it. So my answer is y equals negative 6x plus 6. Over here, I'm going to do the distributive property, and I'm going to have y plus 2 equals 1 half x plus 5, because half of 10 is 5. La mitad de 10 es 5. Now the only step left to do is subtract 2. So you're going to get y equals 1 half x plus 3. By the way, I just remembered something. I should have said it at the beginning, but I'll say it now. When you write this using your keyboard, I tested this and it accepts that if you write it like this, it accepts your answer like that, okay? I wasn't sure if it would accept the answer written like that, but it does. So if you write it like this, that's perfectly okay. That's how I did the IXL myself, and it accepted that answer. I did it every time like that, okay? Every time I had a fraction. Usando las teclas de la computadora o del teléfono, pueden escribir la fracción de esta forma y IXL lo acepta. El 1, la raya, el 2 y el X ahí. ¿Okay? Así es como yo lo hice y escribí todas mis respuestas que tenían fracción de esa forma y lo aceptó IXL. Así que lo deben escribir de esa forma también. Alright, let's look at this one. Again, distributive property. By now, this should be a piece of cake for you guys. Y plus 3 equals negative 3x plus 21. Now I'm going to move the plus 3 to the right by subtracting from both sides. And I'm going to get y equals negative 3x plus 18. And that's my answer. Whoops. Y equals negative 3x plus 18. Alright, this is the first one that looks different, okay? Esta luce diferente de todos los ejemplos que he hecho hasta ahora. Alright, so let's look at this one. Okay, again, I gotta move around the pieces and put it in slope-intercept form, which is this. Tengo que mover todos los términos para ponerlo en slope-intercept form. So I gotta get y by itself. Tengo que coger la y sola en un lado. Alright, so let me write it down here. I got this. Alright, now there's more than one way to do it, but what I would do is, for this problem, I would move, actually, sorry. I don't know how to erase just one little thing, so let me just erase the whole thing and rewrite that. I didn't like what I wrote. Give me 1 second. Alright, I want to get y by itself, so let's move first the minus 8x to the right. by adding it to both sides, as well as the plus 8 to the right by subtracting it to both sides. So now I have this. Listen, the quick way of doing it is just say this is minus 8x, so I'll put it on the other side and put plus positive 8x. And plus 8, put it on the other side and put minus 8. Alright, that's the quickest way to write it. La manera más rápida de escribir esto y de moverlo sería negativo 8x, poner positivo 8x en el otro lado de la ecuación. Y más 8, poner menos 8 en el otro lado de la ecuación. Alright, now the only step left to do is to move this 14 to the other side and divide everything on the other side by 14. Lo único que falta es mover el 14 para el otro lado y dividir por 14. We're going to divide because 14 is multiplying here. So when I do that, I'm going to have y equals 8 over 14x minus 8 over 14. However, I'm not done because look, you got to write your answer in simplest form. Tenemos que escribir la respuesta en la forma simplificada. Siempre tenemos que simplificar la respuesta. And 8 over 14 can be simplified. Podemos simplificar 8 sobre 14. Okay, dividiendo arriba y abajo por 2. If you divide the top and the bottom by 2, that'll simplify it to 4 over 7. Alright, so my final answer is going to be y equals 4 over 7x minus 4 over 7. Esto sería la respuesta simplificada. Alright, we're back to the examples that we did a bunch of here. So y plus 9 equals, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is distribute the negative 10. So y plus 9 equals negative 10x minus 90. Minus 90. Alright, now I'm going to move the plus 9 to the right of the equation by subtracting it. And that's going to give me y equals negative 10x. Negative 90 minus 9 is negative 99. And that's my answer. Because on a number line, here's negative 90. If I subtract 9, I'm going 9 numbers to the left. And it would be negative 99. Alright, let's look at this one. I'm gonna write it out and show you how you could do it mental math afterwards, alright? So look, we have y plus 9 equals negative 5 over 3. I'm going to do the distributive property, okay? So I'm going to have y plus 9 equals negative 5 over 3x. Now look, negative 5 over 3 times negative 9, all right? The way you could do this mental math, the slow way would be to multiply the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. If you do that, you're going to get positive 45 over 3. Let me write it. We're going to write it. Whatever, I'll write it here. If you do it the slow way, you're going to get this, positive 45 over 3. And when you divide 45 by 3, you're going to get 15. A quicker way, okay? Esta manera, si multiplico negativo 5 por negativo 9 para coger positivo 45 sobre 3 y lo divido que me da 15, es la manera despacita. Ok, la manera más rápido sería primero simplificar estos dos números. Si divido estos dos números por 3, if you divide both of these numbers by 3, this will become a 1 and this will become negative 3. And then that would have given me my answer. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. That came out kind of sloppy. Let me tell you another way here. Look right here a second if you can. What did I write? Hold on. A quicker way is look what I'm gonna do here. What's negative 9 divided by 3? Negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Let me say it one more time. Here's a quick way of doing it. Negative 9 divided by this 3 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Okay? La manera que yo lo hago es así. Negativo 9 dividido por este 3 me da negativo 3. Y negativo 3 por negativo 5 sería positivo 15. Eso es una manera rápido de hacerlo, pero si no lo entienden o no ven lo que estoy diciendo, háganlo de esta manera, que es la manera más simple, más directo, pero a veces hace problemas en los números más grandes. Pero esta manera también trabaja. Okay, so I got plus 15 here. Okay, now I'm going to move the plus 9 to the right and subtract it. So my answer is going to be y equals negative 5 over 3x plus 6. Just making sure, yeah. All right, so let me go to the next one. Okay, this problem is in standard form. Hopefully you remember that because we've seen it in intensive math, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it in your Algebra 1 class as well. Standard form is whenever an equation is written in this form. Esta ecuación está escrito en standard form, que es cuando está escrito en esta forma. Okay, and we want to get it in slope-intercept form, which is this form. Lo queremos poner en slope-intercept form, que es esta forma. Okay, so I got 3x minus 8y equals 6. Now listen, I could either move the minus 8y to the right or move 3x to the right. There's more than one way to do it. To not confuse anybody, I'm gonna leave the y on the left. But honestly, for the people that get this stuff and are good at it, I personally would move minus 8y to the right. You know what? Let me do it the way I would do it. Let me do it that way. I'm gonna move because you should know how to move it, like to the right or to the left, okay? Lo voy a hacer moviendo y para la derecha, porque lo deben entender para la derecha y para la izquierda, okay? Why am I moving the y to the right, the minus 8y to the right? Because if I move it to the right, it becomes positive, and I prefer to deal with it that way. Alright, so let me do that, okay? Lo voy a mover para la derecha porque si lo muevo para la derecha, el número al frente de y se cambia a positivo y prefiero, y va a ser positivo. Así que creo que eso es más fácil, para mí, por lo menos. Alright, so I'm going to move minus 8y to the right, which is going to give me this. 3x equals 6 plus 8y. Now I'm going to move the 6 to the left by subtracting 6 from both sides. And that's going to give me 3x minus 6 equals 8y. Now the only thing left to do is to divide both of these numbers by 8. Lo único que falta es dividir los dos números por 8. Alright, so when I do that, I'm going to have this. Okay, now the only thing left to do is to simplify negative 6 over 8. Tengo que simplificar negativo 6 sobre 8, dividing the top and the bottom by 2, which will give me negative 3 over 4. Alright, so my final answer would be 3 over 8x minus 3 over 4. And instead of writing the equals y, let me put it on this side. Y equals. It's the same thing. And just in case anybody needs it, I'm going to do it the other way as well, okay? Por si alguien lo necesita, déjame hacerlo de la otra manera, where I leave y on the left, okay? Déjame hacerlo si dejo y a la izquierda, por si acaso alguien lo prefiere de esa manera. Alright, let me erase everything. Alright, so if I do it that way, 3x minus 8y equals 6. Alright, let's move the 3x to the right by subtracting it. So now I got negative 8y equals negative 3x plus 6. Now divide by negative 8. Ahora divido por negativo 8. Everything. So this cancels out. So now I'm going to have y equals positive 3 over 8x minus 6 over 8. Because a positive divided by a negative equals a negative. Ok, aquí un positivo dividido por un negativo me da un negativo. And again, I still gotta simplify the 6 over 8. Todavía tengo que simplificar el 6 sobre 8. So divide the top and the bottom by 2, and you get 3 over 4. I think the first way I did it, I mean, it's simple, but it came out looking a little sloppy or complicated. And this one came out looking a little neater, and maybe you guys would prefer this way. I don't know. You should know both ways, all right? All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so y plus 9 equals negative 6 parentheses x minus 5. Do the distributive property, and you're going to have y plus 9 equals negative 6x plus 30. And now subtract the 9 from both sides. So y equals negative 6x plus 21. All right, this is the first time we see one that looks like this, although it's not a big deal. All right, so I got that. 9y plus 1 equals negative 7x. First thing I'm going to do is move the plus 1 to the right by subtracting 1 from both sides of the equation. So when I do that, I'm going to have 9y equals negative 7x minus 1. Now I got to divide by 9. Ahora tengo que dividir todo por 9. So when you divide everything by 9, you're going to get y equals negative 7 over 9x minus 1 over 9. And that's your answer. As a reminder, with the keyboard, the way you would write your answer, it's going to come out like this, sideways, horizontal. And you could just write the x right there, minus 1/9. I already tested this, and IXL marks all these correctly. Así es como lo escribiría usando las teclas de la computadora o de un teléfono horizontal. Así se escribe la respuesta y eso va a estar bien. Alright, so here we got y plus 2 equals 1 over 6 parentheses x plus 1. So do the distributive property. Y plus 2 equals 1 over 6 x plus 1 over 6. Okay, now look, here's a situation. This was one of the few that I got where I'm going to have to change this 2 into a fraction. So chances are you're going to have that situation as well. Alright, so let's go over how to subtract that. Okay, en esta situación tuve que cambiar esta fracción. You know what? I'm sorry. I was just thinking about something. Let me show you how you could do this one and not have to change the 2 to a fraction. How's that? I just remembered. That's why I kind of paused and I was thinking, should I say that way or no? Okay. Me acabo de recordar otra manera que se puede hacer donde no van a tener que cambiar el 2 a una fracción. All right, so look, because what I'm going to go over now, you could actually use it for any of the examples. It's just that earlier I didn't think this was necessary. But let me show you now this little technique here that'll make this equation a lot easier. Okay? Lo que le voy a enseñar ahora lo pueden usar para todos los problemas que tienen fracciones. No lo había enseñado porque creo que en los otros ejemplos no era necesario, pero en este sí que lo va a hacer mucho más fácil. All right, so first let me show you the technique, and then I'll go over how to do it the other way that I almost did it, okay? So the technique would be, I could get rid of, before I distribute, I could get rid of this fraction by multiplying both sides of the equation by its reciprocal. So if I multiply both sides by 6 over 1, okay, I'm going to multiply this side by 6 over 1, like everything on the left by 6 over 1. Remember, 6 over 1 is the same thing as 6, okay? Si multiplico los dos lados de la ecuación por el recíproco de esta fracción, que sería 6 sobre 1, va a ser el problema más fácil para este problema. Okay, recuerden que 6 sobre 1 es equivalente a 6. Okay, so right here this cancels out. Right here, just pretend this is a 6. Okay, vamos a hacer que esto es número 6. Okay, so when I distribute, I'm going to have 6y plus 12 equals x plus 1. Okay, now I'm just going to move the 12 to the right by subtracting it from both sides, which will give me x minus 11, 6y. And now move the 6 and divide by 6. Ahora voy a mover el 6 y dividir por 6. Remember, there's an invisible 1 right here. Recuerden que hay un 1 invisible aquí. So I'm going to have y equals 1 over 6x minus 11 over 6. And that's my answer. Esa es mi respuesta. Pero ahora déjame enseñarle cómo se hace de la otra manera que lo estaba explicando. Let me show you the other way that you could do it, all right? And you guys could pick whatever way you prefer. All right, so I have this, y plus 2 equals, when I do the distributive property, I'm going to have y plus 2 equals 1 over 6x plus 1 over 6, all right? All right, now, I move the 2 to the right to subtract it, but here's my issue. Cuando muevo el 2 para derecha para restarlo, aquí tengo mi problema, porque no se puede sumar o restar fracciones si no tienen el mismo denominador. You can't add or subtract fractions if they don't have the same denominator. What's the denominator of the 2? It's this 1. So the first thing I got to do is change them to both have the same denominator. Lo primero que tengo que hacer es cambiarlo para que los dos tengan el mismo denominador. Alright, so the least common multiple of 6 and 1 is 6. So I'm going to change them so that they both have 6 as the denominator. The top one already has 6 as the denominator, so I don't have to do anything. The top one stays the same. But the bottom one, I got to change, okay? Lo voy a cambiar para que las dos fracciones tengan el mismo denominador, que en este caso es 6. El de arriba ya tiene 6, así que lo mantengo igual. El de abajo, okay? I got to think, 1 times what is 6? Uno por cuánto me da 6? 1 times 6 is 6. Alright, that tells me I gotta multiply the top by that same number. Eso me dice que tengo que multiplicar el de arriba también por ese mismo número. So negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Negativo 2 por 6 es negativo 12. Now I could subtract them. 1 over 6 minus 12 over 6. The bottom number is going to stay 6. The denominator is going to stay 6. But the numerator, you're going to go 1 minus 12 and you get negative 11. El de abajo se mantiene 6. El de arriba, 1 menos 12 me da negativo 11. And that would be my answer. Y equals 1 over 6x minus 11 over 6. Alright, so you have two different ways you could do it. And they both give you the same answer. Alright, this one is again written in standard form. So let me do it. Let me keep it simple. I think I overcomplicated the one earlier. Let me just keep the y on the left, okay? Voy a mantener la y a la izquierda y no, para no complicar el problema. Alright, so I'm just going to move the 7x to the right by subtracting it from both sides, which is going to give me negative 2y equals negative 7x plus 16. Now divide by negative 2. So y equals negative 7x divided by negative 2. Obviously, I got to simplify that. Plus 16 divided by negative 2 because that doesn't look right. Tengo que simplificar esto. So it's going to be y equals a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. Un negativo dividido por un negativo me da un positivo. And positive 16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8. Alright, so on this one, I got everything on the right and 0 on the left. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the minus 14y to the left, making it positive 14y. Instead of writing it, I'm going to move it and it's going to become positive, okay? So 14y equals 3x plus 7. Now I just got to divide by 14. So y equals 3 over 14 x plus 7 over 14. I got to simplify 7 over 14. I mean, it should be obvious, but you could divide the top and the bottom by 7 to get 1/2. Okay, puedo simplificar 7 sobre 14 dividiendo arriba y abajo por 7. So my final answer is going to be y equals 3 over 14x plus 1/2. All right, now I got 12x equals 16y plus 18. So, look, this is one where I'm going to leave it. This one is definitely going to be simpler if I leave the y on the right, okay? Este va a ser más fácil dejando y a la derecha. All right, so let's just move the plus 18 to the left. Voy a mover el más 18 a la izquierda, restándolo de los dos lados de la ecuación. So I'm going to have 16y equals 12x minus 18. Now the only thing left to do, excuse me, the only thing left to do is to divide both of these numbers by 16. Lo único que falta es dividir por 16 estos dos números. So I'm going to have y equals 12 over 16 x minus 18 over 16. I got to simplify both of these fractions. Tengo que simplificar las dos fracciones. 12 over 16, I could divide the top and the bottom by 4. And I'm going to get 3 over 4. All right. So, by the way, the answer is going to be y equals. Let me put the y on the left here. Y equals this stuff, all right? So, 12 over 16 becomes 3 over 4. 12 sobre 16 lo simplifiqué a 3 sobre 4. And 18 over 16, you could divide the top and the bottom by 2, making it 9 over 8. All right. So, and it was negative, okay? So minus 9 over 8. All right, this one is in standard form. So I got 7x plus 19y equals 18. I move 7x to the right by subtracting both sides by 7x. And I'm going to have 19y equals negative 7x plus 18. Now I'm going to move the 19 and divide. So it's going to be y equals negative 7, 19x plus 18 over 19. So that's my answer. Y equals negative 7 over 19x plus 18 over 19. This one, I want to distribute the negative sign. Voy a distribuir el signo negativo. So I got y plus 8 equals negative x minus 10. Now let's just move the plus 8 to the right by subtracting. So y equals negative x minus 18. Okay, right here everything's on the right. And we got 0 on the left. So the easiest way to do it, I think, is to move the 19x and the 18 to the left. Okay, creo que lo más fácil sería mover 19x y 18 para la izquierda. When I move it to the left, they're going to become negative 19x minus 18 equals 5y. Okay, cuando lo muevo para el otro lado, se cambian al signo opuesto, así que negativo 19x menos 18. Now I gotta divide them both by 5. Ahora me falta dividir cada uno de ellos por 5. So it would be negative 19 over 5x minus 18 over 5. And since you cannot simplify those fractions, that's it, I'm done. Esas fracciones no se pueden simplificar, así que ya terminé. It's a 5. All right, so this is that's in standard form. So I get 18x minus 18y equals negative 1. So I'm going to move 18x to the right by subtracting it from both sides, which is going to give me negative 18y equals negative 18x minus 1. Now my last step is to divide both of these terms by negative 18. Ahora voy a dividir cada uno de estos términos por negativo 18. All right, so when I simplify it, negative 18 divided by negative 18 is positive 1. And when there's a positive 1, you don't write it. Cuando simplifico, negativo 18 dividido por negativo 18 me da positivo 1. Y cuando hay positivo 1, no es necesario escribirlo. And over here, so I got the x, and then over here, negative 1 divided by negative 18 becomes positive 1 over 18. A negative divided by a negative equals a positive. Un negativo dividido por un negativo te da un positivo. So I'm going to have plus 1 over 18. So just to write it neater, y equals x plus 1 over 18 is my answer. Now we got 19x minus 2y equals negative 18. I'm going to move 19x to the right by subtracting it from both sides, which is going to give me negative 2y equals negative 19x minus 18. Now I just got to divide by negative 2. Ahora voy a dividir por negativo 2. So I'm going to have y equals negative 19x divided by negative 2 minus 18 over negative 2. So y equals, here's my final answer, y equals a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. So 19 over 2x. Negative 18 divided by negative 2 is positive 9. Alright, I'm doing tons of examples today, huh? Okay, negative 5y equals 18x plus 6. Again, I want to get y by itself so that our goal is to put everything in slope-intercept form, alright? So y's got to be by itself. Really, this is almost already in slope-intercept form. The only thing I got to do is move that negative 5 and divide both of these terms by negative 5. Ya esta estaba casi en slope-intercept form. Lo único que falta es mover negativo 5 y dividir los dos términos por negativo 5. When I move the negative 5, it's going to become 18x divided by negative 5 plus 6 divided by negative 5. So my final answer is going to be a positive divided by a negative equals a negative. So this is going to be y equals negative 18 over 5x. A positive divided by a negative equals a negative. So minus 6 over 5. And that's my answer. Alright guys, that concludes this lesson. Once again, if anybody joined us late and you're not sure what IXL is for today, it's IXL section S12. All the equations that they give you, you got to rearrange them and put them in slope-intercept form. Remember that everyone has to get to 100 points. It's either 100 points or nothing. So you got to get to 100 points. The assignment is due by 6 a.m. the next day you have my class. But if you finish it late, you could message me and I'll enter your grade. I'll change your grade from an F to an A once you complete it. All right. La tarea es IXL sección S12. Lo tienen que lo voy a chequear. Lo tienen que entregar antes de las 6 de la mañana del próximo día que tienen mi clase. Yo lo voy a chequear después de las 6 de la mañana. Si lo hacen tarde, mándenme un mensaje y le cambio el grado de F a A. Pero recuerden que tienen que llegar a 100 puntos para coger una A. Alright guys, so this concludes today's lesson. Hope everyone has a great day. See you guys next class.